I was a center manager for Planned Parenthood of Greater Iowa for almost 18 years. There were many things that happened over that time that I worked there that helped me really see who Planned Parenthood is. But the final straw was really when they announced that they were going to be doing something called Webcam Abortion. It's basically a chemical or medication abortion using what you may know of as RU486, the French abortion pill, mifeprex and misoprostol. But the plan was that they would use those in these remote rural centers in Iowa with no doctor or medical staff on site at all. So staff like myself, center manager, and my clinic assistants would be trained in one day on how to do an invasive procedure called a transvaginal ultrasound. This would be in order to get a picture of the tiny baby in the mother's womb. We were going to be trained in one day following another non-medical person on how to do these procedures. When a woman came in and had a 3-minute urine pregnancy test, found out it was positive, supposed to say to the woman, we can take care of the problem for you today, 45 minutes in and out, all you need to do is take these pills. So we would do the transvaginal ultrasounds, scan it to the doctor at her office in Des Moines. She could view it on her computer screen of this little baby. And then if she determined it was 63 days along or less at the time we started doing it, she could push a button on her screen to pop open this drawer at the rural center. And then she would watch via like a Skype connection while the woman took the first set of pills, the mifeprex. And then we would send the woman home with the next set of pills to take a day or two later at home. The contractions would begin at home, and then she would deliver this tiny deceased infant at home. Lots of the women that came into Planned Parenthood for this procedure would see their tiny baby in the toilet or in the bed. And of course, Planned Parenthood does not ever use the word baby. That is totally off limits. We would always call it a heavy period, products of conception. You'll maybe see some tissue. But then after they started doing these all across the state, we would actually have women put this little tiny fetus in a Ziploc bag and return to the clinic and say, we didn't know this was a baby. What are we supposed to do with this? So it was bad all the way around. I spoke up about it, spoke against it, thought it was a really bad idea, and ended up actually getting fired from Planned Parenthood, which turned out to be a really good thing. But went for a couple years and didn't really say much about it. I thought that I had done my part by sharing with Iowa Right to Life the fact that they were doing this new kind of abortion. But finally, the Lord just convicted my heart that I needed to speak up because it was happening all across Iowa. They got up to 29 abortion facilities. They were all doing chemical abortion. So I ended up leading a 40 Days for Life, a 40-day prayer vigil in front of the place that I used to work. I knew from being in Planned Parenthood that workers do not like 40 Days for Life, especially. They call it 40 Days of Hell or 40 Days of Torture. But when there's somebody on the sidewalk praying outside of an abortion facility, a lot of women don't go in. Every manager of a Planned Parenthood facility has a quota or a goal for number of abortions done each month. And when there's somebody outside on the sidewalk praying, women do not come in. Up to 75% of appointments that are scheduled do not show up when there is even one person standing on the sidewalk holding a sign and praying. So having 40 Days for Life outside of a clinic going on for 40 full days really meant that you probably were not going to hit your goal for that month, probably 2 months. And so it was a bad thing. I went home and signed up to lead a 40 Days for Life prayer vigil outside the facility that I once managed. I was terrified to do it, didn't want to see my former coworkers, didn't really want to run into my former patients. You have to think of Storm Lake as a very small rural town where I know almost everybody. I've lived there my whole life, and here suddenly I was on the sidewalk greeting patients as they went in, and they'd kind of do a double take like, why are you out here instead of inside? It's important for people to be aware of what goes on at Planned Parenthood. Check out their annual report. Medical procedures are down. Income and abortion numbers are way up. Donors are way down. As taxpayers, whether you're pro-life or not, we still have a right to know where our taxpayer dollars go. With Planned Parenthood's taxpayer income, they use so much of that, a huge percentage, to support other pro-abortion causes and places and people. It's your taxpayer dollars.